Themed cruises, what are they? Coming up next on Time to Cruise. Welcome to Time to Cruise. I'm your host, Bud. And before we get on here with our topic of themed cruises, folks, if you could please help me grow this channel, help me grow the Time to Cruise community. So please share, and subscribe if you could. So, themed cruises. What the heck are these things? What do we have out here? And where did they begin? I mean, themed cruises actually go back many years. And it's not just the cruise lines that are putting these things out. And I came across them, even though had I been on a few cruises at the time, in discussions with a lady I work with. And each and every year she goes on a benefit cruise to benefit HBCUs. And so that's when they kind of came into focus for me. And I became kind of, a little bit intrigued with these things and all the different ones that are out there. And in some cases, they're put on by the cruise lines, and in other cases, it's third parties. And from the ones that I have found out there, it seems as if they are majority of which are kind of third parties, and they kind of contact and work with the cruise lines to get these. Now, what are theme cruises? Theme cruises are basically taking some type of theme. It could be pop culture, it could be games, it could be you name it, and bringing people who are into that hobby or that fandom together in one place on that cruise ship for like-minded individuals. And these things range all over the place, folks. There's a knitting cruise. If you're into knitting, I came across this. My wife will sit down and knit at times, and everything from knitting folks to one called the Big Nude Boat. You will not find me on the Big Nude Boat. I own a mirror. I would not subject anyone to that. Nobody wants to see that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that might be considered visual assault if I did that. So you won't find me on the Big Nude Boat. Knitting, I don't knit, but if my wife wanted to go on a knitting cruise, I would certainly go with her. I mean, no matter what, you're still on a cruise ship. So who's putting these things on, and what do you have out there? Well, some of the most popular ones, folks, are music festivals, basically at sea. Rock, pop, jazz, you name it, they have it. And they even will at times break it down into the decades. There's a flower power cruise for people of that era. There's an 80s cruise. Break out those parachute pants, folks. I'm pretty sure I still don't have mine. There's a 90s cruise, a 2000 cruise. And many times on these cruises, you will see celebrities from that era of time to attend these cruises, and it's pretty cool that they do that kind of stuff. You also have situations where you have pop culture cruises. I'm sure everyone, although most people probably don't go to these things, although there's literally millions of people who do. There's a Comic-Con cruise, a week-long Comic-Con. It's basically a Comic-Con convention. It's probably one of the longest conventions out there when you think about it, because most conventions will begin on, say, a Thursday evening and end sometime on a Sunday. This is a week long, and it's people with their costumes, and there's celebrities there, and there are comic book artists, and there's Broadway and theater cruises where they will showcase various Broadway shows throughout the cruises. I mean, it's really is a pretty cool situation. There are classic films and Hollywood cruises. Turner Classic Movies has a cruise where they go through and show and talk about some of the classic movies of the time. Whole television channels, the Hallmark Channel, the big Christmas extravaganza. All of the people are tuning into Hallmark Christmas Channel movies. We watch them. I'm going to admit, we sit and we watch them. And they have a Hallmark Christmas Channel cruise, and there's celebrities that come from those genres. There are at least two Star Trek cruises, excuse me, at least two that I came across, and people dress up as Klingons, and they put on their Starfleet uniforms, and they go out and they enjoy, a week at sea on a ship. So, just like the Enterprise, I guess. And there's really are such a wide range of everything from the movies and TV. There's some the Star Trek I get. That's another big convention circuit, and there's multiple TV shows and multiple movies for that genre. The Comic Con, there's multiple books and movies and television shows that feed into that particular genre. But there actually are television specific cruises. Now, one of them I get. Anyone my age, maybe a little younger or older, remembers the Love Boat. And Princess Cruise Line puts on a Love Boat cruise. And they bring back many of the stars, most of which are actually still alive and still kicking. And actually, the actress, I believe her name's Jill Wellen, who played the captain's daughter, Vicky, on the show. She actually now works for Princess Cruise Line. And so they will have Isaac the bartender. You remember the Love Boat and Martin and Isaac with the fist or the finger guns there, and it just they look like a fabulous time. The one that shocked me though, the one TV show that shocked me that will apparently fill a cruise ship is there is a Golden Girls cruise. Now, even though I was in my 20s at the time, I still thought that show was hilarious. Estelle Getty, Betty White, B. Arthur. I thought the whole cast was just absolutely funny. The goofy stories they would make up for Betty White from St. Olaf, the sarcasm of Estelle Getty. I thought it was a great show. And apparently it is popular enough that there is a Golden Girls cruise. I don't know if I would go on it. I don't know if I liked it that much. I did think it was funny. I will catch a repeat every now and then and plop down and watch it just for nostalgic purposes. But the Golden Girls, the cruise folks, it is out there. And then you get into the more cultured stuff. There are wine and culinary cruises. In fact, we have a trip coming up. It's not on a cruise ship, but it is a wine and food tour of Portugal. That's our next vacation on tap. And so I can totally understand being on board, 'cause that being something that appeals to me and my family. I believe that that would actually be a very, very, very good time. Now, who's putting on these cruises, and what kind of celebrities are showing up on them? I mean, if you're gonna go on like an '80s music cruise or a '90s music, a flower power cruise, you're gonna see celebrities that are still performing out there on those ships. You're gonna see Glow in the Gang, and you're going to see obscure, probably obscure now rock and roll groups, Poison and Kid Rock and stuff like that. These people will show up on these cruises. Star Trek, you will see William Shatner, you will see George Takei, you will see Kate Mulgrew and some of the lesser stars of the Star Trek series. They will come on these cruises and host panels and interact with the individuals. There's also there's another cruise that actually appeals quite a bit to me, and that is that my wife and I very much enjoy playing games, and everything from board games. We've probably got about 80 board games in this house, and maybe put out a little wine and cheese and crackers and sit on our patio. We play cribbage, we play backgammon, and we love to just kind of sit around and play games with relatives, with friends, with our children. And there is a website that caters to the board game crowd, and that is called Board Game Geek, or what people within that hobby, that genre, what we call BGG. And so they have BGG at sea. So there is actually a board game cruise. Now you'll see a lot of people playing games on cruise ships to begin with. I've seen people playing chess and backgammon and bridge and hearts and pinochle and dominoes and you name it. That occurs on a cruise ship a lot. But what a great family friendly theme to bring to a particular cruise ship for these cruises. And some of these cruise ship lines really kind of cater to it. So, for instance, Carnival likes to do retro '80s cruises. So they will do retro '80s dance cruises, and they say that it's a big moneymaker, and that the theme cruises itself over the course of the last year or so have saw a 15% increase in bookings. So some people are really seeking these out. Not only do they want to be on a cruise ship, they want to be on that cruise ship with like-minded people with the same hobbies. And you can't blame them. I mean, we all gravitate toward the people that have, the same interests and hobbies that we do. They also do mystery adventure cruises, and those seem to be gaining in popularity. And they also have Caribbean cultural festivals on board some of their cruise ships. So Royal Caribbean has themed itineraries. A lot of their stuff is more along the lines of food tours, wellness, and mindfulness type of voyages. They seem to stick to. And then you've kind of got Norwegian Cruise Line. Now, Norwegian Cruise Line runs the gamut. They seem to keep a lot of their themed cruises all on board Norwegian Joy. I'm not sure. It seems to be their themed cruise ship. Not that every cruise on Joy is a themed cruise. If you booked one and you don't want to be on a themed cruise and you've booked Joy, that doesn't necessarily mean you've accidentally booked a themed cruise. But they seem to stick to one ship entirely. They may have another ship that gets involved on occasion. I'm not quite sure about that one. But look, if you've got a hobby and on top of you like to cruise, do some Googling, folks. Do some hunting around because you just may be surprised that there's a cruise out there for you. I had a friend who was very surprised to find out that there's cruise for people who like to do puzzles. That's what they like to do. They like to get together, they like to do puzzles, and there's a cruise for people who like to do puzzles. I mean, the music cruises, the '80s cruises, '90s cruises, Flower Power, that kind of stuff, those are obviously meant, for parties. There's several different, country music cruises, and as fans in this house of country music, and we just did a recent trip to Nashville. What a great place. That's not a cruise ship, folks, but if you like country music or you like music at all, try a few days in Nashville. It's a very cool town. And that there's a lot of different country music cruises, just like there's a lot of different rock and roll cruises. There is the Jay and Silent Bob's cruise, which is not really a Comic Con. And if you are familiar with the work of Kevin Smith and a television show called Comic Book Men, and it's a Red Bank, New Jersey comic book store that they filmed a reality show in. If you're not familiar with it, they have a cruise. So they have very specific cruises across a variety of cruise lines. Even Disney will have the occasional themed cruise. And if you think about it, Disney Cruise Line in and of itself is a themed line. I mean, everything there is Mickey and Minnie and superheroes and Star Wars, and it's kind of a mini little Disneyland or a mini Disney World on a ship. So they're already in the themed realm. And yet they will step out into and have other themed cruises. There's also themes on cruises where they don't take over the whole ship. And if you look behind me, you will see that, there's a lot of guys, they have a man cave, it's their favorite sports team or their favorite sport. And you can see behind me and on the walls here that I am a big fan of the James Bond movies and the James Bond books. I even go to meetups with other fans to meet other James Bond fans. I do a James Bond podcast, and it's a lot of fun for me. And though you will not find a themed James Bond cruise where it is the whole ship, there are people who will run these gatherings on board specific ships. So even for something then, it can be a smaller group. It can just be a subset of the ship. We have a very good friend who is an excellent travel agent. She does an incredible job for us and books on incredible cruises and vacations and resorts. And she has a group every year for country line dancing. It's not the whole ship. It's probably 25 or 30 people at most, but every year they get together and they go line dancing. She gets conference rooms on the ship and she gets special spaces for them so that they can spend their whole week lounging and laughing and drinking and having fun and doing what they love to do, which is country line dancing. So even smaller groups, if you can find them, those are a little harder to find. It's pretty easy to find the themed group for something that is massive and for something that's going to take over a whole ship. A lot harder to find the ones that are, within the realm of just a smaller group. But search around, folks. You'd be surprised. They're out there, and people will do these things and set them up themselves and line them up through travel agents. And they're an absolute blast. And, if you have a hobby that you see being hosted on a cruise ship, put them together, folks. Why not? It looks like a lot of fun. That's all I have for now. This is Time to Cruise. My name is Bud. Please help me grow the Time to Cruise community. Help me grow this channel. Join us over on Facebook. Ask to come into the Time to Cruise Facebook group. And as always, please, if you could here with this channel, like, share, and subscribe. I just started this channel. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And the more people that get involved and the more people that interact, post your messages, ask your questions. Perfectly fine. I would love to hear from all of you. Thank you very much. Time to Cruise. And hope to see you on the high seas.